society. You have like any kind of like change in society takes at least 6-7 years. Like, so it's normal like to wait. And the good news is that like all those major reforms, let's say you give digital identity for the whole nation. It's a very expensive reform, and luckily Estonia was, as we started from scratch in the 90s, we were not so like first, like if you start from the beginning, you're not rich yet. So we were not rich enough to cancel the project. So, so what you can see in quite many countries that like after 4 years a new political party comes in power and starts to kill what the others was present before. Like in the Estonian case, like the new power couldn't do that because it's just not affordable. So, so if you want to make reforms happen, sometimes not having too much money is actually good. Because like if you do those digital reforms, let's say digital identity, it won't be picked up by society instantly. So, I mean, we all had our ID cards and we were able to use it for authentication or for digital signature. But there's a chicken and egg problem in the beginning. Like, companies are not willing to provide services because there are not enough users, and users don't understand why they should come on board if there is no services. And we made laugh that the plastic wasn't even good enough to scratch ice from the car window. Like, so, that's one thing. Another thing is that, as said, we had to be successful with the reform because it was very expensive. Which means that, like, if there is a huge push or huge pain to make the change happen, the politicians are also willing to use more radical approach. For example, the same like, digital identity was copied from Finland, 100%. But it failed in Finland because it was voluntary. And like the chicken and egg problem kicked in and they never like had enough services to make the change happen. And it was Finnish engineers who suggested that like Estonia make it mandatory. Because we had to be successful with our reform, so we made it mandatory, and it turned out to be like the right approach. So, like those countries who have been more, I'll say, strong with the reforms, or like more straightforward with the reforms, not too democratic with the reforms, they have been more successful with those reforms, like Singapore or China. So, so that's actually one of the outcomes. But they start like your question, like what is the reason of E-Estonia? Is the pure fact that the only way how economically efficiently govern this country, and not too much, like not to pay too much on top of the services on the countryside. We had to push people towards the self-service. So in it, like I like to say that there is a change always needs huge pain, or like you need huge pain to make the change happen, and we had that pain. And that pain was the fact that like you have to be economically efficient, like because you are just building up your society. Like we have never thought about digital society from the e-government perspective. So it's not e-government we are building here in Estonia. We're building digital society, and it means the private sector and government works together. So the same tools that the private sector uses, they have to be adopted by the government and vice versa. There's no, I mean, I have seen many countries in the world doing the mistake that government starts to do something, and that's basically kills the whole initiative, because people don't use government services like too often, and if they use them, they use them like I'll say, like very randomly. I mean, if you think like how many times you apply for child support monitoring your life, or like how many times you apply for construction permit, how many buildings you are building, like, or how many times you apply for a driving license. Like, so there is no such thing like customer experience in standard terms, like or like same customer experience in all through the government. There is no such thing, because every time you turn to the government, it's most probably a new thing, except taxes. Taxes are every year. So and so that's why it's so important if you want the society to adopt something, like they have to use the same tools in private sector. And so we actually have developed like 7 principle rule, like what needs to be in place in society to make society happen, and we have followed these rules, and that has brought us after 20 years. So the transition has been like 20 years. It's not been like but like, I mean, the ones who has not started yet, like if you don't start today, you won't finish after 20 years. Like, so
that's true.
But e-residency now is a logical outcome, because if you are able to serve your people location independently, yes, first we thought about the small towns in Estonia, but then we started to thought about expats. Let's say Estonians in Singapore, Estonians in Silicon Valley, Estonians in Canada. We have a huge community in Australia. So how we serve them? And there's a difference, because like in internet it doesn't matter, like if you are in small town in South Estonia or you are in Australia. So and but on the same time, if you want to get more wealth to your people, if you want to make them richer, the country is the same like with the companies. So if you want your company to do more revenue, usually you need to sell more. And if you sell more, usually you need more customers.
Yes.
So like with the country, it's the same thing. Like, how can I get the maximum amount of people connected with my economy? I mean, like one way is through tourism. So for many countries, like for France or like for Croatia, it's a huge income. Like not so much for Estonia because of our lovely weather.
I like it.
But but again, like it's amount of people who are connected with your economy.